Hey everyone, Danielle Fitzpatrick Clark here, authentic marketer and intuitive biz coach and #1 best-selling author. And today is video 2 of my 3-part video series, How to Build an Authentic Business. And today we're going to be talking about establishing value. So the talking points for today are professionalism in business, and it may not be exactly what you think it is. So I'm going to speak to that just a little bit. How to establish value in yourself and in your business. This is a really good point. This is a good jumping off point from yesterday's video. Also, if you're on this video and you haven't seen day 1, you might want to jump on that and watch that first. And then jump into number 2. And also, I really want to speak to the journey of entrepreneurship and how to move through it with ease. You know, whether or not you've been an entrepreneur for a while or this is your first round in the rodeo, there are some really good tips that I have for you as you're picking up momentum and if you're hitting any roadblocks. So words of encouragement at the end of this for you. So, you know, I've heard, and we're going to jump right into professionalism in business, you know, and I've heard this before. How can I be professional and also authentic in business? Do the two really go together? If I don't wear a suit and tie normally, and then I do that in my business, is that really authentic? If I normally cuss or swear and I stop doing that for my business, isn't that considered inauthentic? But then on the other side, if I'm actually swearing in business and in videos, isn't that really unprofessional? So I'd like to pose this question for you so that you guys can kind of tune in and think about it. Does professionalism to you mean fake? Or even perhaps, how does professionalism, how does that show up for you? And does that mean that perhaps it means showing up as who you are and adding value where you can? Does that resonate more with you when it comes to professionalism? You know, and when I think of professionalism, I normally think of it as being myself, being really honest, being really authentic. That to me is very professional, and adding value where I can add value with what I know. So, you know, what is it that, you know, when you're trying to be professional, what is it that makes you tick? You know, what are your passions, your why, your experience, and including those failures with your experience? You know, to me, true professionalism is focusing on connection rather than competition. You know, being authentic rather than being awkward. Because when we're not ourselves, or at least when I'm not myself, I am totally awkward. I leave trails of subtle hints that I'm being inauthentic, you know, like twitches, I'm nervous, I'm constantly clearing my throat, I'm taking extra drinks of water, you know, I stop and think about what to say next. Do you guys ever do that? I like stop, I'm like, what am I supposed to say? Or what is the right thing to say? And you know, I've gotten trapped in that a lot with business, and I'm trying to think of a particular moment, but there's been so many where I had to actually stop and think about my answer, and it wasn't really what was resonating with me, but I thought it's what a client wanted to hear, so I told them. And I'm a terrible liar. I am. You can see it all over my face. It's almost like my nose does actually grow like Pinocchio's. And it's really, it's such a waste of time for me to actually not be myself and be inauthentic. And then I feel so greasy and gross afterwards. So for my opinion, yes, being authentic is professional, because the latter for me just is not professional at all, does not look good on me at all. So I encourage you to take it easy on yourself when you're thinking about what's professional or what is it that your clients want. I mean, you're going to do these foundational pieces so that you know what your clients want. You've honed in on that ideal client. You've honed in on your values, what you offer, what solutions you can give them. And you're going to be super authentic and super professional because you know this, because you know what you're doing, because you've done the beginning pieces. So that's why a foundational business creation is so important. I really teach this. I'm like, you got to really hone in on your messaging, hone in on your ideal clients, hone in on your values, what it is your business is about, your why, because these are things that come up in conversations. with ideal clients. These are things that come up in conversations with people who may not be your ideal clients, but know your ideal clients, affiliates, JV partners, which is joint venture partners. I mean, knowing your stuff and knowing your value and knowing what it is that you offer, what solutions you provide, that's professional right there. No matter how you deliver it, as long as it's you. So, another reason to be authentic and be yourself. Which brings me kind of into the next topic, which is how to establish value in yourself and in your business. Now, yesterday we talked about core values, and of course, those are huge for business. You really want to hone in as a business owner what your business core values are. You also want to dig in a little deeper so that you're establishing values for yourself as well. They're not just the business one, these are your core values, because those are important too when you're talking to people. And you know, my coach helped me on this and it was fantastic. And then I actually used this on one of my clients, and she, you know, this is my ideal client. We tend to be, I tend to just be a couple steps ahead of her, and whatever I dealt with a couple weeks ago, she deals with, and then I help her with this. So, and she was coming to me and she was like, you know, Danielle, I know that I need to take a break and I need to relax, but I just can't seem to do it. I can't just seem to shut off. And how do you organize, and how do you delegate, and how do you prioritize? So, and that was a great word, because prioritization is huge as an entrepreneur and small business owner. You really have to be very in tune with yourself and your values when you do that. For example, for me, I'm a mom. So whenever I do prioritization, I have to make sure that I am not scheduling stuff for when my kids are getting done school. I need to pick them up. So that's a huge priority to me, being there for them to pick them up. You know, they have after school activities. I can't schedule calls and drive them at the same time. It's not safe. So that's a huge priority for me too. So my daily hours are huge priorities. My weekends, I'll admit, I have been working weekends just to get, you know, to launch this business the way I really want to, you know, but I'm slowly scaling back because my weekends are really important to me, and that's a value. So family is a huge value for me. And there's a lot of different ways to establish, you know, what your values are. Love is a value, success, freedom, intimacy, there's a whole bunch more, you know, health. Health is a big value too. So I encourage you to kind of write down what values come forward to you, just those one-word values that have some feeling attached to them, and to rate those. Rate those like from 1 to 10, 1 being the most important, 10 being the least important on your list. And, you know, the first your core 5, those are your top 5 values. Those are the ones that you really want to focus on. Like for me, my top 5 are, I have it right here, are love, playfulness, because I like to have fun, freedom. My freedom's very important, you know, not having all the structure, success, and number 5 is health. My health is really important to me because, you know what, in the beginning of entrepreneurship, I haven't been taking really good care of myself, and the more I take care of myself, the better I feel, the better I can deliver. So that's a core value, or not a core value, but that is one of my big values for myself. So, yeah, so I encourage you to go ahead and pick 5 and use that to gauge. And I did this with my client so that she could really hone in on what it is that inspires her as a business owner. Now, playfulness wasn't on her core 5, but passion was. So, you know, she really takes her days like, what am I passionate about? I'm going to follow my passion. And whenever I'm writing something, I'm going to put that passion behind it. Or whenever I'm doing something with my kids, it's going to be something that I'm really passionate about doing with them. So it was just a really beautiful exercise, and just for me and for this client that I worked on with. So I hope that you guys gained some really great value from that one. Now, to take it a step further, when we're talking about not just establishing your value, but let's talk about establishing value in your business, and what that looks like is really honing in on that ideal client and their biggest problems and what solutions you have for them. Now, so many times I see this in so many businesses, and I did this at the beginning too, where I didn't really hone in on who my ideal client was. I did a very generic client avatar. I talked demographics, you know, the psychographics, which is their aspirations and some feelings, but it didn't go deeper. So I recreated my client avatar, and this is something that I have all my clients do, and I've even passed this out to a lot of my email subscriber lists so that they can really hone in on their ideal client. And I want to, and that is great, and that one works really well. We really get in the head of your ideal client, but then we need to take it a step further with what problems they have and what solutions you have for them to establish your value as a business owner for your ideal client. So, and these questions I'm going to pose for you. And also, you'll see in the email, there's a handout that asks these questions. So you can print this out and you can write those down a little bit later. If you want to watch this later, you can pause the video and print that out and then come back and write down your answers. And you can always just grab a pen or paper right now and write down your answers as I'm talking. So we're going to take your ideal clients a step further. And I'm going to ask you the first question, which is, what happens if this ideal client does nothing? So let's just say you're getting into the head of your ideal client and they decide that, you know what, I can just deal with this problem. It'll just go away. What happens to them? What in your mind would happen to this ideal client if they don't purchase from you or if they don't hire you? How would it impact their lives? Not solving this problem and continue to have it. There's so many great examples of this when we're talking about the impact that we can have on people's lives. Let's say you know, a health coach. You know, what if somebody really needs a health coach? Their health is failing, and they're just not getting they know they need help, but they're just not seeking out that support. What happens to them? Maybe their health continues to deteriorate. Maybe it impacts their life so much that they get, you know, like cancer or heart disease and they can't come back from that. I mean, that's a huge what if. What happens? And the other thing to think about with this is another thing to think about. What happens if you have the solution that they're looking for? If you're the person, because they're your ideal client, you're the perfect person to work with them as they are for you. What happens if you don't actually step out there and pitch to them or give them the solution? What happens then? I mean, sometimes we don't even think about the dark side of it. Like, what happens if you don't show up as their perfect coach or consultant or advisor? What happens then? Do they find somebody that can't help them? You know, if they're your ideal client, that's probably true. So I like people to think about that a little bit too. What does the solution to their problem mean for them personally? So again, we'll stick with the health coach because this is a really good one. So what does it mean for somebody who's not healthy, who wants a healthier lifestyle? What would it mean for them personally to work with you as a nutritionalist to either drop those last 10 pounds or to just start eating healthier so that they have more energy? I mean, what could that mean to them personally? For me, my energy is really important. It is one of the most important pieces of my business, keeping a high energy. So I can speak to that. So if I was looking for a coach, I'm like, I'm looking for the right coach that's going to make this work for me because I'm a really busy lady. And you know, I am willing to pay top dollar. I'm the ideal client. I'm willing to pay top dollar to get that solution, and to have it work for me. And it would mean the world to me. It would mean that I would have more energy for my family. I'd have more energy for myself. I'd have more energy for my clients. I'd be able to show up for them. I'd be able to show up to the world so much better. I would be my best self if I was able to really get healthy and start taking care of myself, and it would change my entire world. Now, that's something to really hone into as well, because you know very well it's your ideal client, so this is a big problem that you're solving for them. It would mean the world to them. So the next question is, what difference will the solution you have for your ideal, what difference will this solution for your ideal clients have? What will it have on them? What is the difference that it's going to make? For me, it would change my whole world. So I kind of already went into that. But yeah, think about the difference it's going to make for your ideal client to work with them. You know, it would change my whole life. Will the solution that you have change their lives? And if so, how? Write that down. This is a wonderful way to establish value in your business. When you're actually writing this down, like, wow, I'm changing lives. I am changing their lives. Either, you know, for me, I help people make money so that they can live the life they want to live, so they don't have tons of bills coming in that they can't pay. You know, I help people establish value in their business and make money and be authentic doing it. So not only are they paying their bills and, you know, taking care of themselves and going on vacations, but they're also able to look in the mirror at the end of the day and be proud of what they did. When you're inauthentic, sometimes it's not so easy. And also, I want you guys, here's the next question. What is the impact on their ROI, return on investment? So whatever money they invest in you, what is the return on that? Now that could be money. That could be that they make more money. Like for me, I help people make more money and I help them be authentic. So not only are they making money and getting their ideal clients, but they're being authentic. So there's a transformation that happens for them. They feel really good for what they're doing and what they're providing in the world. But this isn't always the case. It isn't always about money. Some people are looking for transformation. Some people are looking to transform their lives in a way that just makes them happier. Maybe it makes them happier. Maybe it's like a health coach and it's their health they're getting, which eventually has more return on investment. I mean, if I worked with, you know, if you work with a health coach, let's go back to that one again, and you get healthier, think about all the money you would save from not having to go into hospital bills because you started taking good care of yourself now, and any future sicknesses and hospital bills and prescriptions and, you know, all that stuff adds up, and you have to think down the road too, the trickling effect it does have on them. So think about the return on investment. And again, this doesn't have to mean money. This can mean that they're making more money. They're transforming their lives. They're happier in their lives. And then even think about the trickling effect these people who are living a better life have on others. That's an even bigger return on investment. So, and lastly, how much do they value the solution you provide them? That's something to really look at, because we can have these amazing solutions, but a lot of times, and again, it took me a couple tries with my ideal client profile builder to come up with this. But it's also important to put in there and to realize that your ideal clients, they want to pay you. They value what your solution is so much they're willing to pay whatever it takes. And that is a huge value piece too. So that's the last question for this exercise, is how much do they value the solution you provide them? If it's on a scale to 1 to 10, 10 being they value it the most, 1 being that it's okay, you should be a 10 every time. That's when you get people to purchase from you, and you get to do it authentically because you're not being salesy. When you say, I have the solution you're looking for, I'm doing you a disservice by not offering this to you and not showing you the value and not showing you how you can transform and how this will mean a better life or more money or whatever the value is. You're doing a disservice to them. And sometimes we don't think about that when we're in sales or when we're putting out our products and services. We don't think about the disservice that we're doing if we don't put ourselves out there, if we don't put our value products out there, ourselves. And that kind of gets into the head of the ideal client. And it also, here's a fun fact, is that your ideal client profile builder will also get in your head. You are going to dig deep. You are going to start seeing parts of yourself that you weren't before. So, so that's just, I want you to think, I want you guys to think on that. And if you can, write down your answers and really hone in on this piece, because it's all about valuing yourself and valuing what it is you provide with your business. Okay, so now that we have talked about value and putting that into your business and really honing in on your ideal client, I want to talk to you about the road of entrepreneurship and how it's really a transformation. And there's so many funny synchronicities and coincidences that come up on your road to of entrepreneurship. And I also want to remind everyone that when you're building a business, it's really not a sprint. It's the marathon. And I'm recalling one of my speakers, actually many of my speakers saying the same thing, because they started out right where the rest of us did, you know, just had an idea, put it into a structure, and then ran with it and used intuition. And some of them just took off very quickly. Some of them took a little bit longer. And what I keep finding for myself, and what I keep finding from some of these huge entrepreneurs that I get to interview and talk with, is that what helped them is really coming from that place of presence, of experiencing what their transformation is, and being part of that, and not just always looking forward and goals, but actually what they learned that particular day, being present. Which kind of leads me to a nice quote by Simon Sinek. You know, I obviously have like an entrepreneurial crush on Simon Sinek because I use his stuff all the time. But I love this. He talks about leadership a lot, and he says that leadership is an education, and the best leaders think of themselves as students and not the teachers. And I kind of take on that same mentality of that. I'm a student of life. I'm always going to be learning, and whenever I'm learning something that I'm passionate about, which is why I'm building a passion-based, heart-centered business, then I'm going to take it on as curiously and as fun as I can, because I'm learning something new, and I'm learning something that I know I really want to work with. So I love that he talks about leadership as being an education, because I really do think that leadership is part of being an entrepreneur, a small business owner. You do have to step into that leadership role, that CEO role, and it's not only an education, but it's really transformative if you think of it that way. So. And I use transformative because I think about where I started back in 2009 as just a copywriter, and then all these years of everything that I've done to grow my business or to show up in a different way. And it really has been a layering effect of education and moving my way forward. And I know that whenever I hit my stride, I'm going to come up to something and I'm like, oh, there's something to learn here too. There's something that I'm going to take from this. And then I'm going to be able to teach this to my students and then move forward, and then something else is going to come up. It's always going to be an experience. It's always going to be a transformation. And really, if you think about it, do you really want to, if you think about when you're starting out, and yes, we all visualize, oh gosh, I want to make, 250K. I want to make 7 figures, and I want 50 clients like right now. And for one, would you actually be ready to handle that if that wish came true? If you magically manifested 50 clients and $1 million the next day, would you have everything within you to handle that? I wouldn't. I don't know a lot of people that would. So maybe there are some people that would. So I like to think about that. And also if that is something that I really want, that I know I see that vision for my business, gosh, I'm going to be making 7 figures, then instead of sitting there and just wishing, that this comes quicker, I think to myself, okay, I know what I want. I know where I want to go. What kind of a person has that? And am I there yet? In most cases, no, I'm not there yet. I know I can be. I know I have it in me, because I wouldn't want it if I didn't have it within me. So that's what I think of. So I encourage you guys when, on this journey of entrepreneurship to think of it as an education, and to not only think of it as an education, but to think of it as transformation. You're going to grow, you're going to grow, you're going to learn, you're going to make mistakes, and they're not mistakes as much as they are blessings in disguise. You're learning something. You're learning something that you need to learn. And yes, some days it does feel hard. Some days you're going to want to quit. I'm not gonna lie, some days I do. I'm just like, oh, I just want to quit, especially like with Mercury retrograde going on. I know everyone's energies are all over the place if you believe in that. But really, I wouldn't want to be experiencing anything else as far as a career. I find that I'm very passionate about entrepreneurship. And owning my own business. I love the freedom that comes with it. I get to play. I get to be myself. I'm not following anyone else's rules because I'm working for myself. And it feels amazing to be able to say that and to be able to experience that. So don't, if you guys are kind of on that fence of, I don't know if I want to start a business, then I really encourage you to think about the transformation and the education that you would get. And if that's something that you really want in your life. Some people don't. Some people don't. They're just like, you know what, I would rather work for someone and help them build their passion-based business because that's something that I'm really interested in. That's something that I'm really passionate about. I want to be that person. And if you are like, yeah, I'm a leader and I want the transformation. I want to grow my own business. I want that, that freedom to make these decisions. Then, yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be hard if you have the right mindset behind why you're doing it. And that's why I'm encouraging you to check in and to think of it as a marathon and not a sprint, as education rather than something that you should already know. And transformation, really, I can't hone on that enough, because you're going to experience, you're going to meet people, you're going to open yourself up in a way that you never knew you could. And it's amazing. I, for one, think it's amazing. So tomorrow I am going to introduce a program to you guys to jump on, but first I'm going to talk to you about goal setting and just a little bit of structure, so that if you guys are really, ready to go, then, goals are a great way to gauge and to kind of break everything down to where you'd like to go and to see if you can meet those. So goal setting is really huge for me. So I really want to share this. I think it's a really big piece in your foundation, your stability in your business. And it can be a lot of fun. And there's a lot of intuition that goes into goal setting, as well as self-reflection that goes into goal setting and meeting those goals. So I'll talk to that tomorrow. Again, you have my calendar link below this video. So if you have any questions, or if you need some help with the strategy pieces, the core values, how to really hone in on the value in your ideal clients and what solutions you're providing, you can have a free 20-minute call. I just ask that you write a little message telling me the one thing that you'd like to work on in that 20-minute call. And yeah, I will see you guys in a couple days with video 3. Bye, everyone.